This is Tel Aviv, Israel. What can the average Joe Israeli do about the situation? What do you mean? Fucking revolt. I feel like if Israeli society was like, I think about it on my own, right? Like, we live in America. We are an incredibly fucking violent country. We are contributing to Israel's genocide. And there is a lot of discontent in this country. Obviously, it demands significantly more. Okay? Far more discontent than what we have shown so far against America. Right? Says the American law. Oh my God, I'm literally fucking in the process of describing my moral culpability. What the hell is wrong with you, bro? What? We have completed, what the fuck? Breaking. Donald Trump just said, we have completed the very successful attack on 3 nuclear sites in Iran, 4 down, Natanz and Isfahan. All aircraft are now out of Iranian space. A full load of bombs was dropped on the main site, Fordow. All aircraft are safely on their way home. Congratulations to our great American warriors. No other military in the world could have done this. Now is the time for peace. That's it? What the fuck? Okay, I need a fucking CNN link pronto. Do we have one?
Poll shows that tattoos, well, they're trending to the right. According to YouGov, they're now more common among Republicans than Democrats, and that's a complete reversal from a decade ago.
Oh my God. Republicans are fucking talking about tattoos, bro. Oh my fucking Lord.
We come back.
Trump
July 4th.
Prefers, okay, we're ahead of the news. We're ahead of the news. The news is not even caught up yet because this just happened, which is why they're not even, what? Did he accidentally post that too soon or something? President Trump announces the U.S. has bombed Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan in Iran. He calls it successful and says U.S. planes are outside of Iranian space. Now is the time for peace, he writes. Dude, the peace president does it again? What do you mean? What do you mean the peace president? We just bombed a fucking foreign nation. What the fuck do you mean, peace president? He said it again. I gave Iran chance after chance to make a deal. No, this is early, dude. This is from a couple fucking weeks ago. Or not a couple weeks ago. This is from like a week ago. Why are you sending me a tweet from June 13th? I told you that 2-week narrative was bitch shit just to make the Israeli freak out as punishment for forcing his hand. Wait, first of all, I also never believed the fucking 2-week narrative. I told you that it was most likely going to happen this weekend. Yeah, here it is. We have completed our very successful attack on 3 nuclear sites in Iran, including Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan. The Truth Social post got deleted and updated 18 seconds ago. This was the OG. What's different about it? What's different about this from the other one? We have completed our very successful attack on the 3 nuclear sites in Iran, including Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan. All planes are now out. Baba vurdular. Amerika vurdu. İran'a. Nükleer siteleri. Fordow, Natanz ve Esfahan. CNN is fucking doing Viagra commercials. And Fox is talking about the Democratic Party's style still. I cannot. Trump said he struck Iran, the American troops, American bomb. No, it is. He deleted it and then reposted it. We have completed our very successful attack on 3 nuclear sites in Iran, including Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan. All planes are now outside of Iranian airspace. A full payload of bombs were dropped on the primary site, Fordow. All planes are safely on their way home. Congratulations to our great American warriors. There's not another military in the world that could have done this. Now is the time for peace. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Nothing was changed in the fucking repost. Guys, I'm on CNN. There's nothing happening. Remember when General Keane advised them, tell the Iranians through the back channels it will be a one-time strike, don't respond or else, now we wait. What are the other bombers doing today? What do you mean? They're probably coming in because of a potential retaliation, which might come. And I think it will, but I don't know. We'll see. Now we wait. From this point on, we wait. We see what Iran's retaliation is going to look like, but remember, right as this information was coming in, I said they are perhaps holding off on deploying ballistic missiles because they're worried about an imminent American strike. Literally, this happened out of... I mean, this was the most expected attack, the most anticipated attack of all time. Seymour Hersh was right, for the record. Cy Hersh's reporting was correct. No, oh, shit. Al Jazeera is just
All right,
now
bringing you some breaking news now. We're just seeing
U.S. President Donald Trump post on his Truth Social account that the U.S. has attacked 3 Iranian nuclear sites. Trump has said that joined the Israeli air campaign, and now we wait to hear more from Tehran and the Iranian government. All planes are now outside of Iran airspace. This is, I'm reading now from the Truth Social post.
They got caught so off guard that their delivery mechanism for this looks like a live stream, looks like my fucking live stream. Look at this. Both CNN, literally, they screenshotted it so fucking fast that they still have the notification up.
He says in all caps, thank you for attention to this matter. Again, the breaking news coming from President Donald Trump that the U.S. has indeed bombed sites in Iran. I want to go to Elena Treen, who is there at the White House. Elena, just to back up for a second, this news coming that they have attacked 3 nuclear sites there in Iran, as we saw President Trump coming back to meet with his national security team there at the White House, as we saw these B-2 bombers, stealth bombers that were involved in this being mobilized earlier. What more are you learning as we get this brand new information?
Yeah, so we do know that the president is still currently inside the West Wing with his national security officials. We saw CIA Director John Ratcliffe enter the West Wing just a little over an hour ago. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, we just spotted moments ago outside of the West Wing on the phone, engaged in a phone call. And look, I mean, so far all we know is what we have seen the president post. Of course, this is very different from some of the things that we've been hearing in recent days, that he was still weighing this decision. Well, despite that 2-week deadline that he gave himself on Thursday, just 2 days ago, he has now, of course, made that decision moving forward with this series of strikes. I think very notable, you know, I was in some conversation with folks who are wondering, does this mean the U.S. when he says we? Well, he thanks
I don't even know
American
if I can leave for New York now. This
in
is
this, saying that no other military in the world could have done this. Some other things I think very much worth emphasizing here, Jessica, is he says that the bombs were dropped on the primary site, Fordo. Of course, that was really what we had been hearing in all of our conversations, that really only the United States bombs, these B-2 bombs that you mentioned, we had reporting that had left that Missouri Air Force Base yesterday. They were the only ones that could really penetrate Fordo, that nuclear site, to really help the Israelis in their ultimate goal of wiping out Iran's nuclear capabilities. He says that they have done that, of course, and strike 2 other facilities as well.
Will this be like a Qasem Soleimani moment of restraint from Iran, and not even restraint at that point? It's like complete and utter domination, or does Iran retaliate against American troop positions in the region and close off the Strait of Hormuz?
States into this in a far more offensive way than we have seen, and also kind of going against some of what we've also know as many people really wary of the United States getting involved in this. Some key things I think, though, are also important to note here, Jessica, is what I had heard in my conversations after we had reported earlier this week that the president had reviewed attack plans on Iran. I was told that behind closed doors in these conversations, he had asked his team specifically if there was a way to have the United States carry out some of these strikes without launching them into a prolonged war. I've been told repeatedly in my conversations here with White House officials that their goal was to see, even if they get involved in this, perhaps that does not necessarily mean that the United States is getting involved in a war or that this will make it a full-scale war. Of course, we have to see how the Iranians will respond to this, but that has been what I've been told in my conversations here at the White House.
What?
And Elena, just
guess,
to give
the
people
Barack
again
Ravi tweet that's in Hebrew is somehow going to tell us Israel knew about this all along. Wow, dude, color me surprised, brother. What a shocking development. Meanwhile, he was trying to pull the fucking Ayatollah to Turkey or some shit, or the foreign minister to Turkey, right?
If Israel wants to get rid of any threat of Iran having a nuclear weapon and getting rid of that program, how do you achieve that goal? And the big question around that was whether the U.S. would get involved, because, as you mentioned, the key way to do that is with these bunker buster bombs. You need these B-2 stealth bombers in order to do that. Now, the Israelis had said they had contingency plans, but they certainly wanted the U.S. to step in here and help them offensively. The U.S. had been helping them defensively, trying to protect them as Iran was
do? What do you mean? You shut off the Strait of Hormuz, the entire world's oil production collapses.
in an offensive.
Not the entirety of it, but a big
That's
chunk of it.
exactly right. I mean, and you're right. I do think stepping back and looking at how we got here is so important. I would note as well, of course, that one, the president has been saying for months, even before he took office, that he believed that the Iranians could never have a nuclear weapon, that the ultimate goal was to find a way
Look at
to
them.
prevent
Look at them.
that.
They're already
the first
packaging this
attempt
as
at
like
that was really what we've
not
seen
a
this
severe
administration do, which is
escalation
try
from
to
an
engage. They did engage in
egomaniacal,
negotiations with the
bloodthirsty administration, ready to collapse the entire globe, but instead a peaceful demonstration of restraint, a first strike that was necessary. What a psychotic fucking country we are.
To strike Tehran. And then, of course, those strikes began just over a week ago. And if you look at where the president has been, at first he really was saying that he wanted to find a diplomatic solution to try and de-escalate the conflict between Iran and the Israelis. And essentially had said that he needed the Iranians to be far more forthcoming in those talks and really make major concessions, what they had really been unwilling to do up until that point. And then he gave himself that 2-week deadline on Thursday where he said, I will make a decision. Even though we had been reporting up until that time that he was closer to wanting to involve the U.S. militarily than he had been. But now it is clear, of course, that he has made that decision, gone ahead, ordered the military to strike these 3 different facilities, specifically Fordo, again, which you've pointed out, is really the key one that a lot of people believed that the United States needed to be involved in. And your point as well about what the Israelis have been asking the president. They've said it publicly. We know they have been saying this privately in their conversations. They wanted the United States to get involved. This is exactly what they were hoping they would do. A key question now is where does this go from here? And we're going to have to continue monitoring that to see exactly what this could lead to now that the United States is far more involved in this directly than they had been up until this point.
Certainly. All right, Elena Trine with the very latest at the White House. Thank you for that. Again, the breaking news, President Trump saying that we have completed our very successful attack on 3 nuclear sites in Iran. We have special coverage of this breaking news continuing right now with Anderson Cooper, who is live in Tel Aviv. Anderson.
Chatters. This is 1 day of traffic in the Strait of Hormuz. Through the Strait of Hormuz of oil tankers, cargo vessels. It is a tremendously important choke point that Iran stated they would start mining if they were attacked. Look, the calculation here is simple. As I said, either the Trump generals are correct and Iran will behave in the same fucking way that they did after the Qasem Soleimani assassination, but this is a severe escalation beyond that. This is exactly what Israel did to the Palestinians for 75 fucking years, basically. Not in the same severity, obviously, but like this is a show of force that says you will not negotiate with us. We will not negotiate with you as even partners. We are here to dominate you. Just as the Abraham Accords basically proved to the Palestinian population that there was no other way out of this, that they were backed into a corner and they had to fight their way out of it. This is another escalation from the American government and the Israeli government, that their goal here is complete subservience from the Iranian government. They are no longer a sovereign nation from this point on, is basically what they are saying. They have their airspace. They fucking use the diplomatic talks
get to the depth
as a cover, as a protective cover,
that facility
to basically blow up these facilities. Now, we don't know
that strike. The question, as you said, how many runs did it take? Were they able to destroy it completely? You know, we don't know that yet. We don't have that battle damage.
Yeah, we don't know if they actually were successful. But
the Natanz facility, according to the IAEA and others, that was damaged by Israeli authorities. That was damaged early on in Israel's actions against Iran. The exact level of damage was not clear. There were some initial reports that perhaps the damage was worse than it actually was. The electrical supply to the centrifuges at the Natanz facility were cut that electrical supply was cut. I spoke to the head of the IAEA, who said he believed that would have caused some of the centrifuges in that Natanz facility to spin out of control and probably go offline and be damaged. But again, it seemed like Fordo had not really been directly hit as far as we know.
That's right. The Israelis had primarily focused their attention on the Natanz facility. We know that they had done extensive damage to the above-ground facilities, some damage to the below-ground facilities, and then as well some damage to Isfahan as well, although they left a lot of that untouched. Some of that, according to experts who I've spoken to, may stem from the risk of radiation that could...
Heavy GPS jamming and disruptions are being recorded right now throughout Iran and across other areas of the Middle East, likely part of tonight's U.S. strikes against Iranian nuclear facilities, as well as the preparations for a possible response by Iran. From Phil Stewart, national security reporter for Reuters, U.S. B-2 bombers were involved in strikes on Iran's nuclear sites. U.S. official tells Reuters. This is the liberal media talking about this, by the way.
The mother of all bombs, which is in Afghanistan. That bomb is actually not the mother of all bombs if you consider the GBU-57, because it is smaller than this 30,000-pound bunker-busting bomb, which would, every expert has said, would be the bomb that you would use for the Fordo facility. At this stage, we don't know
what
that
will
they
China
have
and Russia
actually,
do now? I mean, it is the fact that this happened probably means that China and Russia,
the weapon of choice.
Maybe I'm wrong, but the fact that this happened feels as though China and Russia allowed it to happen, if that makes sense. Like, I don't, if they saw Iran as a valuable partner, a valuable enough ally, I doubt that they would fucking allow Iran to get bombed. They would probably intervene far before this took place. If that makes sense. Like, I don't think America can move B-2 bombers into Iran and fly over Iranian airspace and blow up Iran when there are Chinese assets in Iran. There are Russian assets in Iran. Well, notice that they didn't actually bomb the fucking Russian facility. The Russian nuclear facility was untouched. They will intervene now. I think it took everyone by surprise. It took everyone by surprise. So why is a fucking dumbass 33-year-old Twitch streamer who is simply looking at the readily available reporting on it telling you that it was going to happen literally this weekend, because I read Seymour Hersh's reporting on it, which was almost entirely correct. There is no world in which, if I am speculating on something and telling you that this assessment has a high likelihood, that the fucking Chinese state is oblivious to that reality, or rather the Russian state is oblivious to that reality. That's not how states work. Many of you don't understand that, like, states literally engage in deconfliction when they literally do war with one another even. Okay? They communicate flights to one another. I'm not saying that the B-2 bombers were communicated ahead of time to Russia and China, but I would be shocked if they didn't. You did just say that on Thursday. Dumb shit, fuck. My whole point is, first of all, there is no congressional approval. They are basically fucking behaving as though if it's a bombing campaign, it doesn't require, like just with Yemen, just like Yemen, if it's a bombing campaign, it doesn't require congressional approval is like the modus operandi now, okay? This has been calcified as a fixture of American foreign policy, okay? Congressional approval basically is negligible and not necessary when it comes to bombing campaigns. At most, if you want to do probably like a full-blown boots on the ground military campaign, then you have to maybe say like, oh, there's going to be a special military operation, not a full-blown invasion, and then maybe you can exhaust the legal limitations once again. This is a severe escalation. This is a severe escalation, an act of aggression against a sovereign state, directly going to war with Iran, specifically at the behest of Israeli leadership and Israeli advice.
Who have you seen coming in and out of the White House?
In the Syrian civil war, Russian and American air forces communicated their flight paths with one another to make sure no accidental shoot down of the other. This is something that the great powers did since the Cold War to prevent escalation of nuclear war. Exactly.
Striking these 3 Iranian nuclear facilities.
America does not give a fuck about anything, dude. We do not care about anything. We are so fucking awful. We are so goddamn awful. It is crazy. Fuck the Constitution, fuck international law. We designed it. We can break it if we want to, and you can't do a damn thing about it. That is precisely what's going on here. Now we wait for the fucking retaliation. Will Iran actually pull a post-Qasem Soleimani assassination, and their response is entirely so limited that it's basically nothing, it's negligible? Or will they actually retaliate with severe force, basically saying it's over, it's you know, all systems go, we're gonna fucking blow up every American base with ballistic missiles, we're going to mine the Strait of Hormuz, we're going to disrupt commercial sea traffic, and this is their final step this is their final desperate last-ditch attempt at sovereignty. The problem with this final last-ditch attempt at sovereignty is that it most likely will lead to extended conflict with America and with Israel, and it will most likely lead to the inevitable demise of the country that we know, the United States of America, if it goes in that direction. And it will be used as a proxy by China and Russia if they are clever enough to extend that conflict in the same way that America was using Ukraine against Russia. The difference, of course, between Ukraine and Iran is that Iran has designed its entire society to withstand this kind of thing.